Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to do a little wrap up of the Booktube-a-thon, let you know how it went for me. This was probably one of my least successful readathons, just because it is the first time I've really done a readathon with my new job, and it was definitely a little challenging, and I didn't have a whole lot of time for reading, and what time I did have for reading I may or may not have spent playing Pokemon Go, so my fault on that. Anyways, let's get into the books that I read, and I'll first tell you, well, I guess I'll go into which ones I read and what I thought, and then we'll go from there. So the first book that I finished during the Booktube-a-thon was something I had been reading well before the Booktube-a-thon or listening to on audiobook, and that is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb, which is the first book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy. And I really did enjoy this. I was actually pretty surprised when it ended because it felt very abrupt, like I wasn't expecting it to end, and then suddenly it was like, this has been a production of Thon Media, and I was like, wait, what? That was the end? And I had to go back and like listen to the last chapter again because I was like, I don't understand what just happened. So I am very curious to continue on with this. I am probably going to listen to another audiobook between now and starting this one, just so that I can have kind of like a shorter audiobook to get through. But then I'm going to listen to The Mad Ship, and I'm excited about that because I always love listening to Robin Hobb's books. The audiobooks are fantastically done. And I found this story to be incredibly frustrating the whole time, not in like a bad way frustrating, but in a Robin Hobb always screws with my emotions frustrating, because there were so many characters on here that I either really didn't like, or that I liked at first and then I didn't like and then I liked again, and it was just like it was like a freaking roller coaster. So yeah, she's really good at just really playing on your emotions with her books, so I'm very interested to see where this goes. So far, I think my favorite characters are the live ships, so there's that. Of the human characters, I feel like the verdict's still out. There are certain characters that I absolutely ridiculously do not like, and I might do kind of, I don't know, I want to talk about this more in detail, and I guess I can go do that at the Hobb Along discussion board, because yeah, so many thoughts on this. But the other book that I finished, so I really only finished 2 books during the Booktube-a-thon, but the second one that I finished was Persuasion by Jane Austen, which I was really excited that I got so into this, and then I ended up finishing this and being just hooked, because I have been having a little bit of trouble with Jane Austen after trying to read Mansfield Park. So I read like the first 3 books, Jane Austen books that I read pretty quickly, and then I went to pick up Mansfield Park and just couldn't even get past the first chapter, and so I was really frustrated, and so then I kind of just didn't feel like reading Jane Austen because of that kind of bad taste in my mouth from Mansfield Park. So I ended up picking this one up because it was shorter and because I needed a book to movie adaptation, and I love Jane Austen movie adaptations. So I was like, we'll give it a try. We'll see if I like it. I'll read the first chapter and see how it goes. Well, I started this on the Sunday before Booktube-a-thon, and I read probably 30 pages of it then. And then I just couldn't put it down. I wanted to read it every day, and I ended up reading it every day. I read this at work. I read this before work, and I don't generally read a lot before work just because I don't have a lot of time. But I was really into this, and so I finished this on Saturday. And then I watched I think it's from 1997 adaptation of Persuasion, and I can't remember if this is a PBS Masterpiece Classics or a BBC. I'm really not sure, but I picked this up from the library and I was really happy with it. So this is one of the first times that I've really like read a book with the expectation of watching the movie, and while I was reading this I was getting really excited to watch the adaptation, and it did not disappoint. I thought this was great. I guess first about the book, I thought that Anne was such a lovely character, and I was really rooting for her the whole time, and I loved the sort of romance but not romance aspect of it, that it wasn't like an all-out romance the way that a lot of Jane Austen's books are, and I thought it was really clever. And there were certain characters, so like the older sister was just insufferable, and the dad was just like, you just want to roll your eyes, you're so pompous. And then I think she's the younger sister, Mary, was hilarious. Like, I got so tickled at her because she was so ridiculous, and I had this like hilarious image of her in my head, and I just, yeah. it was one of those books that just had such great characters, and the story was really sweet, and I loved kind of the natural progression of it, and that ending, beautiful, loved it, perfect. Definitely a big fan of this one. Probably one of my favorite Jane Austen books. Definitely up there with Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility. Then I watched this, and it was funny because in the book, the older sister and the dad are supposed to be like super attractive, or they think they're super attractive. And then her sister has like this snaggletooth friend that like hangs around. I think they say she's snaggletooth. I don't know why that's what sticks out in my mind. But so when the movie opens and you see the dad and the sister and the friend, I immediately was like, oh, okay, so that's the sister, that's the dad, that's the snaggletooth friend. Yeah, I was wrong. The one I thought was a snaggletooth friend was actually the older sister, who was supposed to be beautiful, and everybody thought she was gorgeous to look at, and I was like, wait, what? So there was that, and just none of the characters were particularly attractive, which, you know, that's fine, no big deal. And it's one of those movies where I think that that's part of the point, that everybody's kind of plain in that kind of like Jane Austen old British movie kind of way. And I thought that Anne was really well portrayed. I think the actress that portrays her is from a Shakespeare company or something like that. I know she does theater, and I thought she was wonderful, and her facial expressions were so good. And the older sister was worse than in the book. She was just insufferable, way more than insufferable. And the sorry. And the younger sister was hilarious. Like, she was everything that I imagined she should be. Like, she looked like what I thought she'd look like, and she was so like over the top and silly, and it was great. And I loved her acting too. And then Wentworth, I just was not, I didn't feel it. I was just kind of like, I don't find him at all attractive, and he's supposed to be like the heartthrob of the movie, and he wasn't really. But I don't know, it was really good, and it was very close to the book, as I feel like most Jane Austen adaptations are. They changed one or two names, I feel like, and I thought that was a little strange. And then there were just kind of a couple of little things that moved a lot quicker than in the book, but not in a bad way. But overall, I really enjoyed both the movie and the book. Oh goodness, I don't know what's wrong with me. I enjoyed both of them, and I'm glad I got to read this and then watch this during the Booktube-a-thon. So then to the books that I read on but did not finish. So I was reading this before the Booktube-a-thon and still really enjoying it. I didn't really want to read this during Booktube-a-thon because I feel like this is one of those books that I really want to just like savor and get into and really just feel, and I didn't feel like I could do that during the Booktube-a-thon for some reason. But I really, really, really love this, and so I don't want to rush it, so I'm taking my time with this one. And then Mr. Penumbrum's 24-Hour Bookstore. Now, I did manage to only read this after dark. I didn't finish it for that reason, because I didn't have a whole lot of after dark time to finish it because the sun sets really late here. But I'm really loving this, and I've already read almost half of it. And then the last one that I read on was Thanks for the Trouble by Tommy Wallach, which was not on my original TBR, but then I added it as the basically book by a favorite author because I really want to read this because I loved his first book. So I read on this one, and it's really living up to it. I love his writing. So quickly, because my battery light is flashing, I did manage to read book to movie adaptation. This can also meet the challenge of a book that was published before I was born, because yeah. Then Ship of Magic also is a book I heard about through Booktube, and it does have yellow on the cover, so it kind of counts, but not really. Mr. Penumbrum would be yellow on the cover, as well as After Dark if I had finished it, and then this one could also be yellow on the cover, but a favorite author if I'd finished it. So I did all right, not too great. What can you say? But anyways, I had a lot of fun with Booktube-a-thon, and I can't wait until it comes back around again. I think they usually do a holiday one, a shortened one, which I look forward to. And yeah, I'd love to hear how you did during Booktube-a-thon, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Bye!